Hey guys, so today I was going to show you a new project that I've been working on for the last few days. The name of the project is Judoscape, and as the name might imply, it's basically just cytoscape inside Jupyter. And what I mean by that is like the intended goal is not just to be like an example of, oh, this is how you use cytoscape, or like this is how you can make cytoscape more functional inside a Jupyter environment. The point is to actually be a totally like functioning version of cytoscape that runs on Jupyter, not locally on your computer, but on like a Jupyter hub where you can just log in to the Jupyter Hub website with like Gmail or your like GitHub ID, and then just start working there without like having to download anything. And like, you're not constrained by any device. Like you could use an iPad or maybe even possibly a phone to do it. Actually, when I was building this website, my computer broke, so for like the majority of this, I was coding it on just an iPad, which kind of shows the power of using something like Jupyter. So now this that we're looking at right here is not a website. This is actually just a Jupyter notebook. To show that there's nothing like funny happening right now, I'm just gonna like open it from here. So this is the Jupyter notebook that we'll be looking at. And let's just first, well, here I'll hide the source code. Let's just rerun everything in the notebook. Restart, run all. Again, just to prove that there's like no smoke and mirrors. And this is a Jupyter notebook. Okay, so let's look at just how this notebook functions. So it's made to be very easy to use, where someone come in and use this without any like coding ability whatsoever, and that it would feel very natural. So the first thing is an introduction. It says what the environment it is, and it'll have like, well, this tutorial video that I'm making right now. Obviously, it can't have that in right now, so it's just like some random Muppets thing. And then the first actual step is to build your data set. And as of the current functionality, you can, you can really only just download one data set into it, which is a data set in this folder called My Data. And again, this is a Jupyter notebook, so there's just a folder on your like space that you can just upload all your data to. There's the upload button, and then from there you can access the data sets. But also, you could download data from the internet. Now, right now, this does not actually do that. So I'm just saying it is something that, I could put in probably relatively easily. Shouldn't be too bad to do. And then, maybe you could have different buttons for different, like, repositories where people usually download data and kind of build it out from there. One thing I should note is that this works really well with the GAL filtered dataset. When I did try it for large datasets, sometimes it would crash. So that is something like I have to consider, like how to like optimize it. What can you do to make it a little more stable for like the really big datasets. That being said, it seems to be working pretty well for these ones. So once we choose our data set, we click Get Data, and so now the data set is loaded in. And then we can view some summary statistics of the data set right here. And then we can graph the data set. And so here we see the graph. And so this was created with the cytoscape.js library. I did not use scirest or anything like that, just because I figured it was already in JavaScript, so that was the easiest way to access Cytoscape. And so we can do fun things like, change the color. Let's say make it a circle. Create the graph again, and there we have the graph again. And obviously, I intend to add a lot more functionality, like give it all the functionality of Cytoscape. This is just kind of like the example of what the idea is. And so cool features about this is that you can like go in and view all the source code by just clicking the button up in that corner. And now it all of a sudden looks like a Jupyter notebook, like what it actually is. And so I didn't have to install any weird packages. It uses all like just NumPy and pretty generic stuff to create. And a cool thing is that if you're working on this, remember, you can change any aspect of this site. Well, actually, here let's do an example where we actually create, like, let's say just another widget that would control some aspect of cytoscape. So there's one. We'll just add something underneath here, like, well, interact. Let's be at interact. So let's say we wanted to like add more functionality to our website, like controlling some opacity for something. So the shading of it, change opacity then. Create a global variable, call it opacity. Alright, cool. That should be all we need. Oh, except for a little guy there. Alright, cool. And so now we created a new variable. And so these are just Jupyter widgets. It's just a really easy way to build like an interface. It's like easier than HTML, honestly. And so let's just have our opacity thing. So then this would be something that we would send to like the style thing in the cytoscape.js to control some view. We'll just print it for now. And you can see that when I change the slider, it will change opacity automatically. Well, I have to print it so you can see it, but then the value changes. And then like all you have to do is if you close the cells, then all of a sudden you see that it actually already almost looks like it could be good enough to be part of the settings they already created, just as how it landed naturally. So you can see that this is just a very easy way to add more functionality to an environment. And a really neat thing about it is if it's all open source, it's all on JupyterHub and everyone's working on it, then when someone creates more functionality, they can just put it on GitHub or give it to their colleagues, and then their colleagues can take that exact same notebook and load it up onto their hub, and it will just instantly work because it all runs on the exact same like OS that was set up when we create the Jupyter Hub. So it's incredibly easy for people to improve upon the notebooks in a open source environment. And then also just for sharing, if you want to like verify someone's result, if they just give you the notebook, then you literally have like all the code they wrote and you can verify every single aspect of what they did. So it has many benefits for the scientific community when it comes just to ease of, well, writing code, ease of viewing the code, and ease of sharing the code. So I think that basically wraps up the tutorial. I hope you like the idea, and I hope it's something that you would be interested in working on in the future.